presiding over things. When they dragged onto stage, they dragged a heavily pregnant woman onto stage here, and she was screaming her head off because she wasn't drugged and she wasn't unethically hypnotised. And I remember sitting over there thinking, oh my God, she's not drugged, she's not hypnotised. And it was horrendous. So there's adrenaline going through her system and adrenaline going through her body, and she's heavily pregnant and naked, and she had a brown bowler haircut. And she's one of what they call a breeder, and she's used just for breeding for these rituals and for child sex trafficking. And they drag her onto the stage and they lay her down, and the head for a sacrifice is always here, so they're and the feet's that end, and where she's screaming, right, Beasley's over here, and he goes to us, I'll never forget this, he goes, she's screaming and making a fuss, and he goes, oh, he says, you know, he's back like this, and he comes forward and he goes, excuse us for a minute. And everyone laughs. Everyone thinks that's hilarious, except for me. And then they've got, because they had two big security guards dragging her onto stage, and they needed extra help, so it was like usually the thug type who likes to hurt people. And the cop, he used what he knows about holding people down, and the four of them pin her down. And they're holding her legs and her arms and whatever, shoulders. And then Benno has a ceremonial dagger, and he's like, it's further back. It's a shame this is here because he's further back, and he does his usual crap. You know, they worship their gods, you know, Baal, Lucifer, hail Satan, son of the morning, and all the other gods and goddesses, you know. And then he has this knife, and he slams it after he's done all his ritualistic sort of chanting and words and whatever, and people are chanting and whatever, and he slams this dagger, ceremonial dagger, two hands, into the woman's, I don't know, around about here where the bone ends, and he can get in, and he tears her open with the knife right down to the pelvic bone, and blood just pisses out everywhere. It's like a waterfall and just everything. And then they pull the baby out, and then there are people assisting, and they've got a gold platter, and they've got a chalice, and they collect the blood of the baby. They drain the baby's blood in the chalice, and then they chop the baby up and put it on the gold platter, and then they pass it around for Holy Communion. So it's the black mass, the real typical old-fashioned black mass that the Catholic mass is based on, right? The Catholic mass the Latin mass is a sanitised version of this. There's nothing Christian about Catholic mass. And so that's all going on. And then the next thing I remember is they lined up, this stage was lined with children who must have been about, they looked about maybe 8, 9, 10 years of age, that sort of thing. And they had them lined up like this on the stage. They went like this. They lined the children up And the children were hypnotised. And the children came forward and they were like this. They were just like this. They just, you know, as they were told, they did nothing and they just stared straight ahead. And they're very attractive children. And then had a samurai sword. It was incredibly sharp. And he's crap. He doesn't have any style about him, but the basic thing is he goes along each child and he has a certain stance about him. Is it that way? Or is it that way? And he slices off the heads of each child. I don't know if he turns or I can't remember what he does, but then he, you know, goes along and, you know, like this, and he goes along and chops off each head. And each kid falls, the body just falls, and blood is going everywhere. I mean, if you DNA tested this area, there would have to be remains of someone's blood and DNA in here. There'd have to be somewhere. Yeah. Anyway, then they break out into a bloodied orgy. Now these people, the whole point behind doing the having the woman not drugged and not hypnotised is to pump as much adrenaline through her blood as possible, because these people are addicted to adrenaline, and when they drink the blood, you know, it's, you know, the baby's blood. You know, the baby's in distress, so it passes on somehow to the kid, and that's why they, you know, have this sort of situation going on. And they collected some other blood from her or something, you know, on the way. But at the end, I was over here, and a bloody orgy broke out, and everyone started having sex. They're sexually aroused by this stuff. You've got to understand that they are sexually aroused by this crap. And I go down. By now, I was over there, but they kind of clear the floor, and I don't know, everyone's just having sex with people. And Kim Beasley Sr. was down here, and I was there, and he came down and he picked up a head of one of the kids that had dark hair, and I'm standing here. So the table's in the way, but I'm here. And Beasley picks up this head and he shoves it in my face like this, and there's this decapitated head in my face, and he says, "Take ye, eat." And he made me take a bite out of the face. And then everyone just had an orgy. It was just disgusting. And most vile thing you've ever seen in your life. And that's Bathurst City Hall.